On December 27, 1991, Scandinavian Airlines Flight 751 was following its typical schedule, but something unexpected happened. Shortly after takeoff, the engines stopped working. Thus, the plane fell and crash-landed near Gottura, Sweden.
What caused the most baffling accident in Sweden's history?
Upon investigation, it was found that the engines in the aircraft were on fire.
Jet engines rely on a steady stream of air for combustion. A series of fans move incoming air through various stages of compression. But when that flow is disrupted, fuel at the rear of the engines ignites violently and shoots forward.
This occurrence is known as surging, and this is what caused the fire within the engines and its eventual destruction. But what caused the surging? Investigations pointed to ice.
And as the temperature dropped during the night, it went to snow and rain, and finally snow. So there was a layer cake. Ice at the bottom, slush, and snow on top.
But the wings were de-iced, weren't they?
The ground crew insists that after they sprayed the wing, it appeared to be clean. But that appearance was deceptive.
It looked perfect, because the clear ice on top of the fuel tanks, you cannot see the clear ice.
A technician inspected the front of the wing and found no ice. He couldn't have known that there was ice further back, out of his reach.
No provisions for stairs or anything that he could use to get up on the wing at the de-icing platform. It looked shiny and nice, couldn't see any ice on it, but still there was maybe an inch of ice on top of the wing.
This brings us to communication/ethical breach number 1. Failure to do your job to the best of your ability. Scandinavian Airlines failed to implement their best possible de-icing routines. They only improved their routines after the accident. But something still didn't add up.
The Pratt & Whitney engines on Flight 751 were designed to withstand this type of ice ingestion. Something else must explain the disaster. Investigators know that the wrong reaction by a pilot can make surges worse.
The appropriate procedure would have been to throttle down to decrease the power in the engines, and this is exactly what the pilots did. But even though the pilots tried to decrease the power in the engines, the power still increased.
Swedish authorities learned that automatic thrust restoration, or ATR, was recently introduced as a safety feature on Scandinavian Airlines planes. It existed because the FAA had discovered some pilots were throttling back considerably while taking off and landing to reduce noise over residential neighborhoods. The ATR was designed to make it impossible for them to throttle back to dangerous levels.
The automatic thrust restoration had independently increased the power in the engines.
The investigation concludes that the pilots had taken the right steps to clear the surge and prevent the catastrophe. But the computer code which governs the ATR undermined their efforts.
Clearly, the pilots were not informed nor properly trained to use the ATR. And not only were the pilots uninformed, but everyone in Scandinavian Airlines.
The system was so new to Scandinavian Airlines that nobody there had even heard of it.
And it was confusing for everyone because we didn't know about the system, we didn't have information on the system. SAS didn't know the system existed on their aircraft.
This leads to communication/ethical breaches number 2 and 3. Failure to communicate or transfer important information, and failure to always seek the best interests of those whom you serve. SAS simply did not inform their pilots and workers about the ATR, and they clearly didn't consider the consequences of their actions. They didn't have their workers' and passengers' best interests in mind. Conclusion: failure to do your best, communicate, and selflessly seek the best interests of those you serve can literally end in a plane crash. Communication and ethical breaches do lead to disasters and should be avoided at all costs.
I'm a little airplane